Let me give you a theory about this, because I have a theory. And my theory is that the woman, not just in Central and Western Europe, but in many countries, America and Canada are also examples. The women in the larger, stable, economically developed countries in general have a very large obesity problem. It's massive. It's a massive industry, actually. A lot of people make a lot of money from trying to help these people to solve their problems.
Poor people are not fat.
Yeah, well, if you don't have the money to buy the bad food, then you don't get fat. One of the problems is depression, that people eat to overcome mental anxiety and mental and social psychological problems that they have.
And stress.
Oh yeah. Food is a drug. It's like in America there's a department of government called the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. So food and drugs are the same department.
Yes.
So that is one of the reasons that they're but it's a downward spiral, because you get overweight and you feel depressed, and then you eat because you're depressed, and then you're more overweight, and it's a terrible downward cycle that doesn't really have any solution. But a lot of life is misdirection. And what I mean by that is somebody says, look at this, while with the other hand they take something. And a lot of life is like that. A lot of that's how media functions. A lot of things are designed to distract us. And I think that the women are obese because that's what destroys the men. And let me explain this. Yeah. This in general is not a downward spiral or de-evolution of women. This is a de-evolution of men. Because men need to hold women accountable for how they present themselves. And physical beauty is a very important element of history. Not just society, but history. Because that which is beautiful is more valuable.
Yeah.
Where do people travel when they go on holiday? They go to beautiful places. They don't go to ugly places. They go to beautiful places. When someone wants to buy a new car, they don't look for an ugly car. They look for a shiny, new, beautiful car. And beauty is something that takes time to understand. If you look at something like I'll take the travel and holidays example. People go to see beautiful places. Maybe they go to old cities or old cathedrals or churches or something, and or the castles in Scotland, for example. Now, if you want to build something in the modern world, you build it fast and you build it cheap, and it looks ugly and it doesn't last. And that's the way that it is. In the past, when people built churches and cathedrals, it took 200 to 300 years to build these. 200 to 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
Look at La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona as a classic example of this. People don't think like that anymore. People don't have an understanding of the bigger concept of time. They only see today and this week, and their brain functions on weekly cycles of drama and soap operas and habitual activities. And so they don't see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is understanding the value of things that are beautiful. Because things that are not beautiful are an attack on society and they're an attack on history. For example, postmodern art is one of the worst creations in human history. Postmodern art is ugly. It's ugly. It's not beautiful. It's It's ugly. And this began post-impressionism as it sort of began with the cubism and the angular, uncomfortable, disturbing kind of pictures. And they got worse.
Yes.
And that's not really great art, because great art captures things which are beautiful. And there's a lot of lies that are sold to people. There are lies that are sold to the world. And one of these lies is that it's the beauty on the inside that that matters. Don't get me wrong, people are beautiful inside. Everyone is beautiful inside, for sure. However, the outside is a mirror of the inside. Now you see this with human emotions. You don't feel good inside, and the face has a sad expression, or a depressed expression, or a frustrated expression. You can see the manifestation on the outside of what is happening inside. Oh, you can see a person is thinking about something. And so this idea that, well, the beautiful thing is on the inside. Well, if you have to look inside, it's because the outside, it's not visible at all. And the role of women throughout history was to beautify things. Men would build and women would beautify. And both things were important. Both things were important. Yeah, the men would build the castle, but the women would decorate.
Yes.
Yeah. The men would make the furniture, but the women would take care of the children, right? Yeah. So there was this balance there, and the role of the woman was to beautify everything, to make everything nice. Now, what has happened is that women have forgotten what their role is. Women have forgotten. And, question, what was it that motivated men to do things? What was it that motivated men? One of the greatest motivations for men was women. To find the nicest, friendliest, smartest, most attractive woman in society, and to marry that person or make that person your partner. That was what the goal of the the male's life. That's why the man built things. That's why the man collected. That's why the man worked. That's why the man did business. That's why the man traveled. That's why the man acquired resources. That's why he dug in the mines and climbed the trees and explored and fought the animals, and all those things were not just for man alone, but to provide for the beauty that existed in the world around. And great leaders are leaders that understand what is beautiful, what is truly beautiful, what is really beautiful, and they aim for peace and avoid war, because they understand that war is brutality and nobody wins, and that peacefulness is a beautiful concept. And if you remove from the world the motivation to do something, then you destroy the world. If you remove from the world the motivation, you destroy the world of that thing or that person or that place. If beautiful women no longer exist, men will have nothing to fight for, nothing to work for. They won't. And what will the result be? Well, they themselves will either turn on themselves or they'll turn on other people. They will either feel depressed and unhappy within themselves, or have negative actions towards themselves, not care about themselves. Because if the world around about you is ugly, there's no reason to be beautiful. Because ugly hates beauty. If there's 10 women, and 9 of them are fat and 1 of them is slim, which is an average that exists in certain places. Maybe it's 8 and 2. Maybe 8 are overweight, and I think the average in society is accurately that in a lot of places in the Western world. If 8 of them are overweight and 2 of them are the right weight or slim, those 8 are going to resent those 2 a lot of the time. Some people are just nice people and they don't have resentment and negative feelings, and that's all great. But let's be honest, it's going to be harder for those fat women in the selecting a partner, finding a good future market, because when you have kids, the kids are a mirror of the parents. And if the parents are overweight, the kids will predominantly be like that, just because the kids have to eat the same food that the parents eat, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's terrible for the kids. The kids don't have a chance. And what happens when women stop being beautiful is that men stop having motivation. And when men stop having motivation, everything falls apart. There's no reason to build anything. Why should you do? What's the point? What's the benefit of it? Because, and people have understood this for thousands of years. For thousands of years, that the ultimate object of desire and beauty was a woman. Not because she was an object, but because that was a beauty that men could not attain themselves. And to have something like that in a post-modernist culture, almost post-industrial in some ways as well, is terrible, because it's a change from the way that we've always lived, and it was something that was good. It was something that was understood. It was something that is appreciated. And now in the modern culture, we are told things like don't objectify women. It's like, well, we shouldn't appreciate beauty. I mean, what is the? Well, it's all on the inside. Yeah, but it's not, because the outside reflects the inside. And of course, a more intellectual culture finds elements of beauty within people and sees beyond the surface. But it is, what is one of the biggest industries in the world? It's the beauty industry. It's one of the largest in the world. And who buys the beauty products? Do you think men buy the men don't buy the beauty products? It's women that buy the beauty products. You walk through a local shopping center and look at the ground floor. I guarantee you there are shops that sell only things for women. Only things, right? Yep.
Somewhere for men too. Něco přemýšlíš.
Well, men have the technical things. They're interested in the magical elements, things that give them power, and women go for the lipstick and things that
Parfums, creams.
Yeah. Why do women wear red lipstick? The reason why women wear red lipstick is because it signals to men something sexual.
Yes.
Because when a man and a woman have sex, the blood goes into a woman's lips and the lips are more red. It's a fact. It's just a fact, right? It's just a fact, right? So that's why women wear the red lipstick, because subconsciously it sends that message to men. Maybe women don't understand that, but that's just a fact of why they do. We don't do things that make no sense. We don't do things there's a reason for everything. There's a reason. We don't wear makeup because it has zero effect. We wear makeup because it makes a difference, right? And here's another interesting point. Make up. We call it makeup. Make up means invent or create something that is not real. That's what it means. To make up a story means to create a story that is not real. So it's a fake image. The makeup means, the terminology means it's fake. It's not real. And men, look at history, and you find throughout history great wars that happened because of beautiful women. Right? And that was the power of beauty.
Yes.
That was the power of beauty. And it was not something that was only inside. It was not something that was on the inside. Because, a smile is a smile, right? It's very hard to fake something natural like that. And so men are suffering because women are not what they were. I'll give you one more example. Before 1900, women didn't smoke. Do you know why they didn't smoke? They didn't smoke because it was dirty. They didn't smoke. Right? They were more intelligent. They didn't do it. It was dirty. It tasted bad. It had no real positive social effect. Right? Until the marketing gurus, the Edward Bernays and the people with Freudian psychoanalytics until they realized that you can put pressure on people and pressure on society to change, and it will change. And obviously, because only the men smoked, there was only half a market. If you could get women to smoke, then the market would be much bigger. And so cigarettes were marketed to women as symbols of liberty and freedom, which is the same thing really, and independence and power. And it wasn't really any of those things at all. That was just marketing.
Yeah.
It wasn't any of that at all. And it actually devalued a lot of women because smoking affects health, and health is a value which is very important in life. If you have it, your value is higher. If you don't have it, your value is lower. Healthy people have more advantages in life. Naturally, because you want your friends to be healthy people. You do. You want to work with healthy people. Healthy people win. They win at sports. Sports is a big industry.
Yeah.
You have to be healthy to win. There's a lot of money there. Very specific reasons there's a lot of money there. These people are on TV every day. Every day there's a sports tournament or a sports event or so. These people are super fit. You don't get there if you're not fit. Right, so there's a lot of different kinds of wealth connected to the elements of fitness and beauty. And as a final point, the kings didn't want to have ugly children.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kings did not want to have ugly children. They wanted to have beautiful children as an example. So there's a war on men, but it's not done directly to men. It's done indirectly through men by destroying man's motivation, which is woman is man's motivation to do anything. That's man doesn't do things for other man. Man doesn't care about other men. He doesn't care. Well,
Cherchez la femme.
yeah, of course, the French understand. Yeah. Yeah, man doesn't do things for other man. Man does things for women. Women, however, that's more complicated, right? That's more complicated. There's more. I think there's more male bonding that happens than female bonding. It's harder for women because maybe there's less resources, and there's a little bit of resources, and there's a lot of women fighting to acquire that little bit of resources. Perhaps that's one of the reasons. I don't know. I'm not really an expert on that, but I just observe how men are always more motivated when there's beautiful women around. What is the number one way to control and corrupt a politician? What's the number one way? It's not money.
Women.
Yeah. Yeah, but why do you think Jeffrey Epstein went to prison and was killed? right? Jeffrey Epstein was a criminal who was supplying women to politicians, and he was supplying a lot of young women to politicians. But that was how the politicians were controlled. They were controlled because the money thing is hard to prove, and people don't care if politicians take money. You take money, well, whatever, right? Everybody takes money, blah, blah, blah. But you can destroy a person in society through society's view of the person being adulterous or unfaithful to their family. That is the number one way to corrupt politicians. It has been for thousands of years and still is today.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's all very interesting. It's all very interesting. It's a deep topic.